Hey everyone, welcome to Energy First Golf. In this video today we're going to talk about what is the difference between external mechanics and internal mechanics. If a lot of you, if you visit our website, we talked about how based on the main principle, our principle is energy first, impact later. We have three different stages of it, meaning there's internal golf, there's three-dimensional golf, and that's 1SP, 2CS, 3FA. And today we're going to talk about what is internal golf, which we refer to internal mechanics, internal golf, and also if a lot of you, if you understand some of the martial arts in the Asian culture, we talked about internal martial arts. The Chinese word is called Nei Gong, means how do you feel internally? Okay, now you have external power and internal power. So what internal power, usually what we say is internal energy. That's why it's called energy first. Now, but let's talk about what is the difference between external mechanics, golf mechanics, and what you're learning, and what is internal golf mechanics. All right. So first, let me give you an example. What is internal golf mechanics? Internal golf mechanics means right now we talked about how we need to turn from center. Okay. We needed you to, as a learner right now, we need to feel your hips. Okay, and feel your core rotation and your oblique rotation. Okay, and those are really an example of internal mechanics. And when you are turning it, you actually would need to feel a lot of muscles like your inner thigh muscles and your gluteus maximus. All those are internal muscles. In the same time, if I show you my arms right now, I can definitely straighten my arms like this. That's called a locking straight. Or at the same time, I can have what I call the internal pressure, means I keep my arm in a neutral perspective, but engage my muscles in a way where there's correct structure. Okay, so you can see right now my arms staying neutral flexed. They're not locking flex, but at the same time, I am using the muscles with internal pressure. Then I am keeping my arms in a very good structure. And we're going to talk about that more in the future in detail, what your left arm's doing, what your right arm's doing. But those are the two examples what I mean by internal swing mechanics. All right. Now, let's talk about what is external swing mechanics. For example, if I tell you right now to turn your hips and turn your core, but there's the one point I say, hey, if you're turning right now, I like to see you focus on how this end of this butt end is pointing at your belly button. Okay? So as you're turning, which a lot of you heard this, is called the one-piece takeaway or one-piece backswing. So as you can see, if you are focusing on the end of the club is pointing at your belly button, that right there is an example of what I call the external mechanics, because right away you're thinking about if this end is pointing at your belly button. But if you understand this, isn't that very interesting? Your internal swing mechanics and your external swing mechanics, they kind of have to work together, but most importantly, your internal swing mechanics actually has to lead. Think about it. If I'm doing this right now, if I keep my arms very quiet, and if I grip the club properly, if I just turn my hips and my core, create correct muscular structure with your legs and your hips and your glutes, you can see this club is actually pointing at my belly at this position. Right? So now, based on what I just showed you, you can see there's a difference between what you are focusing on and what is right and what is wrong. Right now, let me ask you this. What do you think if I give you both the internal swing mechanics and the external swing mechanics, what would be a wrong movement? The wrong movement would be where you started focusing a lot more what this area is doing. Right? That becomes an external mechanic training. But let me give you another very bad example. What is an external mechanics? It means a lot of times, here's another way to say it. No, I know a lot of you, you might put a sort of alignment stick behind the club. I'm going to use a club to demonstrate what we're dealing with, right? Because a lot of times you might be working on, or your instructor say, hey, Joe, let's make sure This butt end is focusing on tracing that, straight line, which I know a lot of you have seen that. So what happens is you can literally just manipulate your arms, right? You can literally manipulate your arms without thinking any of your internal mechanics. And you can still do the right thing, but is it really correct or is it really right? No, the truth is not, because you're working on only what? Your external mechanics. But let's check it out. What if I say that to you right now? I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm not going to focus here. I'm actually going to focus on my rotation from internal mechanics. You actually do the exact same thing, but correctly. Instead of just focusing on external mechanics, where you're not going to build what? Correct muscle memory, correct muscle recognition, but most importantly, correct energy. Because you know why? You will use your arms more than your body. So that's exactly what I mean by external mechanic, internal mechanic. Are you able to work them together correctly, or are you just focusing on external mechanics where you can do it all day long, but guess what? And not building any correct muscle memory. Okay, so let me give you another example. What is external mechanics? A lot of times people say, well, once you get to the top, go ahead, because you're going to drop into that slot. So a lot of people would do what? They will focus on this dropping movement. That's exactly what I call the external mechanics. Yes, your arms will go into that slot, but you cannot use your arms to do it only. You cannot use your arms solely do that movement. That would be incorrect, because if you incorporate the internal mechanics with your external mechanics, if I go to the top, if I'm turning my body and turning my core correctly, this club will get into that slot. So that's the reason why understanding external mechanics, sometimes they're not wrong, but at the same time, they're not fully correct if you don't work with your internal mechanics together. Then you will be kind of wasting your time, because you are building incorrect muscle memory. All right? So hope you enjoyed watching this video, and don't forget to click this button right here to subscribe to our channel. And we have 2 videos here. Click the link. Those are the recommendation videos. Hope you enjoy watching those.